Whether you're stuck in traffic, hitting the gym, or just winding down, we are here to spill the hottest tea from your favorite Bravo shows. From the wildest reunions to the quietest social media unfollows, we cover it all. So welcome back to Reality TV Podcasts and Clips. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Let's get into it on 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. Today we are doing a true deep dive into, well, the entire state of the Bravosphere right now. We're looking at a whole bunch of updates across multiple franchises.
Exactly. We're not just gossiping. We're looking at the strategy behind it all. We've got Potomac, New Jersey, Beverly Hills, Salt Lake.
Southern Charm, too.
And Southern Charm. And the thing connecting all of them is this idea of how these stars manage their image, how they use the platform. It's really a look at the business of being a Bravo celebrity today.
Okay, let's jump right in then, starting with Potomac, where it's always about wealth, status, and, well, performance.
It always is. And we have Kiarna Stewart, who is really stepping up to defend her friend Angel Massey. Angel's new, season 10.
And the criticism is the classic Potomac initiation, isn't it? Oh, 100%. It's the first thing they do. Castmates are suggesting Angel only moved to the DMV for the show and is, quote, flexing a lifestyle she doesn't have.
The ultimate housewives insult. And Kiarna's defense was...
Well, it was more of a counteroffensive.
It really was. She goes straight after Wendy Osefo, who is one of the main critics. She brings up the accusation and then immediately jokes about the audacity.
Which is such a clear, pointed reference to Wendy's own, public legal issues right now.
It's a perfect strategic deflection. It's basically saying, you're going to audit my friend's finances when you have all of this going on. It completely discredits the source of the accusation without even having to fully deny the claim itself.
And then she brings psychology into it. She uses the word projection.
Yeah, which elevates the whole argument.
Yeah.
She's basically saying you're accusing Angel of what you're secretly worried about yourself. She says they want Angel to be in the same place as them.
It's smart. It paints the critics as insecure and envious, which is, a very strong position for a newcomer to be in. It's a great narrative shield. But then, and this is the best part, she comes with the receipts.
The actual specific details. She talks about Angel's house, which was the main point of contention.
Right. And she clarifies it was an executive rental from the very beginning.
That one detail changes everything. It's not like she was caught pretending to own a rental. She's saying this was always the plan. A high-end, temporary business move.
Exactly. It dismantles that whole faking it for the show narrative. And then she drops the numbers.
A $7 million budget from her husband.
And that they'd been house hunting for a year and a half.
See, that kind of specificity makes the original accusation look, while it just looks petty and uninformed, she completely weaponized the facts.
That's a masterclass in housewife defense.
So moving from the internal Potomac drama, Kiarna also had a story about an interaction at BravoCon 2025.
Right, with Chanel Ayan from another franchise. And this is all about, the unspoken social hierarchy at these huge events.
So what was her complaint?
It was very specific. She is standing with Karen Huger, the Grand Dame, and OG Chanel comes up and apparently completely ignores Kiarna.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she says Chanel grabs Karen, throws her around, makes a little one-on-one moment, and then just gives Karen a quick hi and moves on.
And Kiarna's reaction was pure housewives. She pulls out the classic line, maybe you were so nasty, you were so rude.
And then she questions Chanel's proper home training, which in the Potomac world is a major, major insult. It's about decorum. It's about class.
It really shows that these events aren't just for fans. The cast is constantly sizing each other up, figuring out who's A-list and who isn't.
And Kiarna clearly felt dismissed.
Okay, finally on Potomac, Kiarna talks about her drama with Stacey Rush, which she calls a roller coaster ride. And this gets back to that theme of performance versus reality.
Yes. The question is always, are you being real or are you just producing a moment for the camera? And Kiarna accuses Stacey of that.
She says Stacey lives for the moment and is always giving attention. She's basically throwing the criticism that she gets right back at Stacey.
Right. But what's really interesting is the reason she gives for why the group is annoyed. She admits Stacey is performative and entertaining, which, is part of the job description.
Of course.
But she says the group is frustrated because they actually want to get to know the real Stacey, but she never drops the act. The performance is constant.
That's a really fine line to walk, isn't it? You have to be entertaining, but if your castmates feel like you're never being authentic, they'll turn on you.
It's a breakdown of the social contract of the show. They feel like they're working with a character, not a person. And that makes it impossible for her to really integrate.
All right, let's move from the DMV over to New Jersey. This is all about battling the edit and controlling your own narrative. Jennifer Aiden gave some really interesting insight here.
Yeah, she did. So she's talking about her reduced airtime. And not coincidentally, she's launched a new podcast called TV Gold.
Which is the classic move, right? If you feel like the network is silencing you, you create your own megaphone.
It's total insurance.
Yeah.
And she gets very specific about what she thinks is being left on the cutting room floor.
She says her awesome confessionals are being cut. The ones that had producers and cameramen covering up their mouths because they're laughing so hard.
Oh, the implication is clear.
Yeah.
She's delivering the goods, but Bravo is choosing not to use them. But her theory for why is what's fascinating. It's not about drama.
It's technical.
It's purely technical. She thinks she talks too fast. She literally says, this motherfucker talks too much.
And because of that, she believes the editors can't find a break where it's going to be a clean break.
Let's just unpack that idea of a clean break for a second. In editing, you need those little pauses to slice the audio together seamlessly. If someone is just a fire hose of words.
It's a nightmare to edit. You either have to use a jarring cut or you just have to throw out the whole clip.
Exactly. So a personality trait, her fast talking, becomes a technical liability in post-production. It's a brilliant and honestly probably true reason for getting less screen time.
And this, plus the fact that she wasn't invited to BravoCon, has her kind of gracing for an exit.
She's managing expectations. She's hinting that she might not be asked back, which leads right into her 5-year plan.
Right. She hopes to become her husband Bill's sugar mama.
Which is really the ultimate housewife goal, isn't it? You use the show's platform to build a business so big that you don't need the show anymore. You achieve true financial independence.
It's the Lisa Rinna model, which we'll get to. Okay, let's shift to Teresa Giudice, who is on the Casual Chaos podcast with her daughter, Gia. This was really reflective.
Deeply reflective. She's comparing her 2 marriages to Joe Giudice and now to Luis Ruelas. And the key difference, she says, is communication.
She admits she lacked that much of it with Joe, but has it with Luis. That's a huge admission.
It is. It acknowledges the cracks in that first marriage were there long before any of the legal stuff blew up. And Gia's perspective adds so much to this.
She has this whole generational take on it, that young girls are drawn to the macho bad boy type.
But as you get older, you realize you want the sweet guy like Luis. But she connects it directly to consequences.
She's incredibly blunt. She basically says the macho bad boy type can get you, well, deported. She makes it clear that Luis is not her dad, because he didn't get into that kind of trouble.
It's a brutal but honest assessment of the real-world cost of choosing a certain kind of partner.
This all leads to this massive what-if moment. Gia asks her if she thinks the family would still be together, her, Joe, and her relationship with her brother, if they'd never done the show.
And Teresa's answer is immediate. Oh, definitely.
No hesitation.
0. That one answer confirms everything. From her perspective, the show was the catalyst that blew up her entire world. It accelerated everything that went wrong.
She does walk it back a little, saying there's no point in dwelling on it, but that initial gut reaction says it all.
It really does. We also got some clarity on what made her so angry about the legal situation. It wasn't just going to jail.
No, it was the feeling that she was made an example of.
Right. She points out that Joe had a business partner who was also involved, but that person didn't serve time. She felt that if justice were truly served, all 3 of us should have went to jail. Her anger is about the perceived unfairness of it all.
And one last crucial detail from that conversation, Gia confirmed that infidelity was also a factor in the divorce.
Which is important. It means the marriage was already on shaky ground, separate from the show and the legal issues. The show was like gasoline on an already existing fire.
A very, very public fire. Okay, let's head to the West Coast and talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and the master of the game, Lisa Rinna.
Rinna's commentary is just. It's a business school case study on how to leverage a reality TV platform.
But she reveals it almost didn't happen. She auditioned for season 1. She was almost an OG.
Can you imagine? She said she got pretty far, but Andy Cohen rejected her.
And the reason was that he didn't want any working actresses on the show at the beginning. He wanted that illusion of, real housewives.
An illusion that obviously didn't last. Rinna says the game changed in season 5 when she and Eileen Davidson were hired together. She actually credits Eileen with changing everything.
That's when Bravo decided to fully embrace the actress archetype. It brought a whole new level of media savvy and, frankly, performance to the show.
It did. But Rinna is very clear that even with her professional background, it was not an easy job.
She says she only had fun filming with Eileen.
Think about that. Over 8 seasons, The only person she consistently enjoyed the process with was Eileen. She says filming was generally not fun and was challenging.
That really strips away the glamour. It confirms it's a grueling, emotionally taxing job. Which brings us to her big takeaway, her famous phrase for it all.
Good real estate?
Good real estate. Despite how challenging it was, she says it was absolutely worth every second because Bravo was good real estate.
I mean, it's the perfect metaphor. The show wasn't the destination for her. It was the valuable land on which she could build her actual businesses, her beauty lines, her clothing. The fame was the asset.
It's such a cold, calculated, and honestly brilliant way to look at it. The show was a vehicle to reinvent her career and create a scalable empire.
Absolutely. It was a means to an end. And once she had fully developed that real estate, once she had built everything she wanted to build on it, she was done.
Which is why she said walking away after 8 seasons felt fabulous. Mission accomplished.
She won the game.
Okay, let's fly over to Salt Lake City. Meredith Marks has been talking about her edits, some off-camera drama, and a very surprising new career.
Meredith is very media savvy. She starts by acknowledging her season 6 edit was not very positive, which is a very diplomatic way of putting it.
But she doesn't just complain. She kind of explains the rules of the game to the audience.
She does. She says reality TV only gives you snippets of people's lives, not the whole story. But then she immediately adds that this is what makes it entertaining.
She gets it. She understands that the audience signs up for the edited, dramatized version. The full, boring context wouldn't make for good television.
It's the psychological contract of being a reality star. You accept that your public persona will be a collage of your most dramatic moments.
Speaking of drama, let's talk about the plane incident. There were all these wild rumors about an interaction she had with Brittany Bateman. Screaming, wine throwing, hair pulling.
And Meredith's denial is very smart. She says, look, if any of that actually happened in this day and age, there will be video of it everywhere.
Which is a very good point.
She confirms that something did happen, so she's not totally dismissing the story. But she says the real version is a lot less interesting than the rumors.
It's great rumor control. Acknowledge the grain of truth, but deflate the sensationalism.
Now, we have to talk about Jen Shaw.
The elephant in the federal penitentiary.
Right. Meredith says she hasn't spoken to Jen since her release, just one call while she was incarcerated. But the interesting part is her take on a potential comeback for Jen.
Even though Andy Cohen has said firmly, never again.
Meredith thinks there could be a path, a very specific path. She says if Jen paid back her restitution and showed real reform, Cohen might be more open to it. It would allow for a positive ending to the story.
A redemption arc. The network loves a redemption arc.
They do. It provides the moral justification to put a convicted felon back on television. But Meredith is also realistic. She points out that the group dynamics have changed so much, it would be really hard for Jen to just slot back in.
And we can't skip over the most surreal part of Jen's time away.
No, we cannot. Meredith admits she is very curious to hear what happened between Jen and her notable prison mates, Ghislaine Maxwell and Elizabeth Holmes.
I mean, who isn't? You have a reality star, a sex trafficker, and a fraudulent tech CEO all in the same place. It's the most bizarre crossover event imaginable.
The stories from that environment must be absolutely wild.
Okay, finally for Meredith, this new career pivot. She's a DJ now.
A DJ. And she seems to absolutely love it. She calls it the most fun thing I've ever done in my life.
And her description of why is perfect. It's like having a party every night, but not really having to do all the heavy lifting.
It's the perfect post-Housewives gig. It keeps you in the spotlight, it's high energy, but there's none of the emotional conflict the show demands. It's fame without the drama tax.
And it started at Pride events. She said she was terrified at her first gig in Pittsburgh and was rolled out in a bathtub onto the stage.
As one is. But now she's playing gigs in Times Square. It's a genuine passion project that she's turned into a real career. Good for her.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to some genuinely happy news for once down in Charleston with Southern Charm.
Yes, a rare feel-good story. Naomi Alindo, a show alum, is engaged to her boyfriend, Billy Hare.
And they were set up by friends. The whole thing happened pretty fast, less than a year.
Which just suggests it was the real deal from the start. The proposal was very sweet on a pier with their dogs, and Naomi said she was the luckiest girl in the whole wide world.
What's really telling, though, is the cast reaction. It was just a flood of positivity.
Overwhelmingly positive. You had Cameron, Taylor Ann Green, Madison LaCroix, Leva Bonaparte. Everyone was genuinely thrilled for her. Well, a bunch of reality stars who are paid to be messy are all sincerely happy for you. You know it's a good match.
But the ultimate seal of approval came from her ex-boyfriend, Craig Conover.
This is the part that's so unusual. Before they were even engaged, Craig was on Watch What Happens Live just gushing about this guy.
And not in a fake, forced way.
No, it felt totally sincere. He said he's heard more good things about this guy than anyone, and that he knows from mutual friends that Naomi is in really good hands.
For an ex, especially one with as much history as he and Naomi have, to say that publicly, that's incredibly mature.
It says a lot about Craig, and it says even more about Billy Hare's reputation. It means he's just a genuinely good, respected guy.
Craig even said he'd been invited to their Christmas party, though he couldn't go. And then, of course, Andy had to stir the pot.
Of course he did. He suggested Craig should date Billy's ex-wife, Brooks Nader.
And Craig just played right along, telling Andy to ask her. The Bravo universe is a flat circle.
It truly is.
Okay, let's wrap up with a more high-level conversation about the art of the reunion, sparked by the drama around Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
This is a perfect little experiment to look at. Hulu switched hosts for their reunions, and it shows just how impossible that job is.
First, they had Nick Viall, and the criticism was that he was too aggressive, he pressed them too hard.
Then they switched to Stassi Schroeder, and the criticisms is the exact opposite. She didn't question them hard enough.
It's a no-win situation. Tamra Judge and Jana Kramer talked about this on Two Teas in a Pod, and they came to a pretty clear verdict.
They did. They said Nick Viall did a better job. And the reason was because he did drum up some of the drama. He wasn't just there to be girl-friendly.
So from the perspective of reality TV veterans, the host's job is to apply pressure. You have to be willing to make them uncomfortable to get the resolution the audience wants.
Exactly. A gentle host leads to a boring reunion. But Tamara's critique went even deeper.
She questioned if that show even needs a reunion at all.
Which is a huge point. She says they film constantly, so we're always seeing their drama play out. And then when they get to the reunion, they can't even really talk about half the big stuff because of contracts or legal issues.
So the reunion just becomes this staged, synthetic event that doesn't actually resolve anything.
It becomes another layer of performance, which is a powerful critique of the modern format.
But speaking of hosts, Stassi got her moment to shine on her own podcast, clapping back at Nick Viall's wife, Natalie Joy.
Yeah, this was really interesting. Natalie had made a comment about Whitney Leavitt's parenting after Whitney landed the role of Roxy Hart in Chicago on Broadway.
Kind of questioning how she could be a mom and do this huge job.
And Stassi just went off, in the best way. She immediately asked Natalie, "Where's your kid right now?" And made the point that parents work everywhere, all the time.
But she centered it on the gender double standard.
She did. She said if it were a man who got that role, no one would ever fucking ask that.
Yeah.
She said the criticism bothered her because it taps right into her own insecurity about being a working mom.
That feeling of, am I being a good enough mom if I'm also focused on my career?
Exactly. It was this really powerful moment of advocacy, highlighting the insane pressure and guilt that society puts specifically on working mothers. It was vulnerable and strong all at once.
Which really brings everything we've talked about full circle, doesn't it?
It really does. We've seen these calculated business moves from Rinna and Teresa. We've looked at the reality of the edit with Meredith and Jennifer, and the obsession with wealth in Potomac.
And what it all shows is just how strategic you have to be to survive in this world. Every move is a brand management decision, from defending a friend's rental budget to launching a podcast.
It is a machine, and everyone is trying to operate it to their own advantage.
Which brings us back to that hosting debate. Right. And it leads to our final provocative thought for you to think about. If a show, like Tamara said, films all the time and the cast is legally restricted from talking about the real issues,
is the traditional high-pressure reunion format, the one that Andy Cohen perfected, still the best way to resolve drama? Or has it just become another layer of performance?
Yeah. If they can't address the real contract disputes or the legal battles, is the reunion just an hour of yelling that doesn't actually accomplish anything? Or does it still serve a purpose?
Something to think about next time you're watching one.
That's all for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.